Hello and welcome to this yoga practice today. It's called Release Resistance. So we're releasing resistance in the hip area today, finding where we've got some tension, maybe some emotions that we're holding on to. So to start the practice today, we're going to lay down and we're going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana, reclining butterfly. So slowly just lowering yourself down, whatever way is comfortable for you. Bringing the soles of your feet to meet. Placing your hands onto your tummy to start. Allowing yourself to completely soften down. Letting go. Now imagine your shoulder blades are melting into the mat. Allow your spine to soften. And you start to feel your knees gently opening, falling towards the ground with every breath you take. 2 more breaths here. And then slowly guiding your knees back up to meet each other, bringing knees into the chest. Taking hold of your shins, if that feels good for you, or your hamstrings to release your shoulders. Start to just gently draw your knees into your chest. Focusing on the breath here. So we take an inhale, we'll gently guide them away. Exhale, draw them in a little more. Pressing that sit bone into the mat. Softening the shoulders. Starting to release the lower back here as we start to work into the hips. Start to release that resistance. And then slowly releasing. Rolling over onto your right hand side to make your way up into a seated position. We'll come into bound angle or seated butterfly and holding on now to our feet with our hands. Allowing our spine to be nice and long. Just start to gently flap your wings like a butterfly. Maybe close your eyes for a moment and just notice if you've got tension in your hip area today. Anything that's going on here, just pay attention to it. And then we'll slowly release it. Crossing our legs, finding a tabletop position. Starting with some nice hip circles. So in our tabletop position, taking our knee bent, sole of the foot up to the ceiling. Start to take the right leg into a circular motion. So really focusing on this hip joint now. Try not to move the body. Try to just solely move this joint in one direction. And then we'll move in the opposite direction. And just notice how it's feeling. Have you got any clicks or pops? That's okay. And then we'll come back down. Take the weight onto the opposite side. Heel up to the sky. And then start to make your circles in this direction. And then we'll go in the opposite direction. How does the left side feel? Can you feel lots of tension here? And then we'll slowly come back into our tabletop position. Coming into a frog pose now. So we're going to start with our knees bent at a 90-degree angle. Now, if you need that support on the knees, if you've got sensitive knees, roll your mat up here. Extra support for the knees, or if you have your knee pads, blankets, you are invited to use them today. Once you find your frog pose, I invite you to either stay on your hands or to come onto your forearms. And then just start to breathe into this posture now. So inhale, release slightly, coming forward. Exhale, sink back into it and feel that resistance. Find where you're holding that tension. And let's breathe into that tension now, just to let it go a little. Inhaling. Exhale, we soften away. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Slowly coming up onto your hands. You can either sit back by bringing your legs in, or you can just slowly walk your knees back up to meet each other. Come in to sit onto your bottom. Just make some hip circles here, or windscreen wipers I should say, just to release, because it's quite an intense posture. And then we'll come back to our tabletop. So crossing your legs, stamping your hands down, coming into tabletop. So from here, we're going to take it into our lizard pose today. So slowly either walk or step your foot to the outside of the right hand. Left knee, you can untuck the left foot and just walk it back slightly. You can stay like this today if it feels good for you. You can turn the foot at an angle, heel stays on the mat, allow the knee to open, just to allow you to sink a little deeper. You can stay here if that feels good for you today. Try to open your chest in your lizard today. Feel that extension of the spine. Breathe into it. 2 more breaths. What can you feel on this right side? Is there resistance? Allow yourself to let go with every breath. And then slowly start to move the right hand to the outside of the mat. Walk the right foot to the left wrist. And then slowly allow for the right knee to fall to the right wrist. You can walk the left leg back a little to open up into pigeon. Stay in your pigeon here, or you can come onto your forearms if that feels good for you today. Now notice the resistance you feel in your glutes. In your bottom area, maybe you've got a lot of tension on this right side. Try to breathe into it and focus on the breath now to let go. Maybe bringing this left hip forward, taking the right hip back. You feel a deeper release of tension. Try to soften shoulders, don't resist. Last breath. And then slowly pressing hands into the mat, tuck the back foot, bring the knee slightly forward. Start to come back into your tabletop. Take a wriggle from side to side. So we'll slowly work on the left side of the body now. So pressing hands into mat, bringing the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Walking the right knee back. Now you can stay like this, or you can turn your foot off the corner of the mat. But just try to extend your chest forward, bringing them hips down. Feel that nice release now on this left side of the body. Do you have more tension here than the other side? Acknowledge where you are. Breathe into it. Soften shoulders. Last breath. Then slowly start to walk the left foot to the right hand. Allow for the left knee to fall to the left wrist. Walk the right leg back a little if you want to go a little deeper into your pigeon. Stay in on your hands or come in onto your forearms. Take a nice breath here. Maybe focusing on pressing the right foot into the mat, the top of the right foot into the mat. It'll take a deeper stretch here on this left side. Soften your shoulders and just take a few moments. And then slowly pressing hands into the mat. Tuck the back foot, bring the knee slightly forward, bringing the knee back to meet the right. Come into a wide leg balasana, wide leg child's pose. Allowing now for your bottom to work towards your heels, pushing your hands away, take your forehead to the mat. Allow your forearms to stay on the mat. And just take a little release in the shoulders. And then slowly making your way back up into a tabletop position. Bringing your knees out to face, your feet out to face the right, bottom onto the mat. Slowly, we start to come down into final relaxation. Taking hands out, slowly lowering down vertebra by vertebra. Taking your relaxation